It's the Cup of Mets podcast, season 3, episode 24. I'm Ian Bosniak, joined alongside by Robert Venegas and Matthew DeSantis. As always, before we get going, remember to give us a follow on Instagram, YouTube, and X. We're at Cup of Mets. Subscribe to the podcast, whether it be on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Visit cupofmets.com for all the latest merch. And last but not least, download that SeatGeek app, punch and code Cup of Mets at first purchase to get $20 off. Boys, the Mets are rolling. How we feeling?
Feeling good, honestly. I mean, September, kids are going back to school this week. Now the
Shut up.
playoff push is really on.
Ooh.
Yeah. So now we really need to go out there. We got to play hard. We've had a pretty good summer. We need our MVP candidate, Mr. Lindor, to keep staying hot, and we need Peterson and Manaea to keep pitching the way that they have, and I think we'll just be A-okay.
Yeah, no, 7-3 is great for the road trip. It could have easily been 9-1, but again, the boys are just one game back of the third wild card spot. Kind of good. I'm feeling good going into September just because at one point we were 4 games down. Kind of shit hit the fan with Edwin Diaz a little bit, but it's good to see the Mets still in it. September is going to be a very fun month. It's going to go either way, but we're in it, so that's all I could ask for.
Absolutely. And I think that the craziest thing is Rob, what you just said about how at some point, in mid-August, it kind of seemed like it was a little like they were going to trend backwards a little bit, and they started losing a little bit of ground even as recent as last week, right? When they were 3 or 4 games back, the final spot in the wild card. Now they sit 1 game back. And Matt, you said 7-3 road trip. We touched base before the Padres series, and then we also touched base before the Diamondback series, right? And I'm gonna be honest, yeah, we could have gone 9-1, but 7-3, no complaints there. You go and you face 2 of the hottest teams in the Padres and the Diamondbacks. You end up going 4-3. You don't lose one of those series, and then you go to Chicago. And Matt, I know I made this joke last week about how Mets would it have been if they do well against the Padres and Diamondbacks, and then they go to the South Side and they lose 2 or 3, or they get swept by the worst team in baseball history. And right, and that would have been esque, as much as I hate to say it. But they took care of fucking business, and the boys are rolling.
Yeah, I mean, they did a phenomenal job. It was a little brutal staying up. I'm not gonna lie, but I think that they played and they took the tiebreaker over the Padres and Diamondbacks. So that's huge. That's huge. I think everything it couldn't have went, and obviously 9-1 would have been great, but I'm very happy with the 7-3.
Yeah, and I think people tend to forget too that this bunch, not only now, but even in April when they started 0-5, they won 5 straight. Like, they're a resilient crew. And again, tough, heartbreaking losses in that road trip to San Diego and Arizona. But at the end of the day, they came back the next day and they won games. So, and again, Edwin Diaz looks like he's found it. He's starting to use his fastball more, which is nice. And not, again, Chicago, I didn't think the Mets were going to Mets against Chicago because Chicago is really that bad. It was a good series for the Mets to kind of find things, get going. The bullpen looked great. And again, even like a start like Tyler McGill, yeah, he struggled in the beginning, but they emphasized him getting ahead with his fastball and getting strike one. So I didn't mind their game plan headed into Chicago at all. But again, a great way to come back home and then, potentially be a half game back if they win today because the Braves have off. So
Yeah, it's definitely obviously it's September and it's going to be a crucial month. We could be a half game out, as you said, but just going back on just to sum up, since we last spoke with the Padres series, Mets took the opener against Arizona 8-3, followed up by losing a heartbreaker, which is one that we were referencing, 8-5. They won the series finale in Arizona to clinch the series 3-2. Then they swept the White Sox 5-1, 5-3, and 2-0. So it just goes to show, I love the way that they've bounced back, and I think that's going to be massive for them, as they push down the stretch. One guy that, and I just kind of want to touch about the pitching aspects, right? We mentioned Tyler McGill. McGill's probably going to make one more start, right, before he heads back down to AAA. I don't think that they're going to keep him up with the rosters expanded. They already called up Alex Young and Pablo Reyes, and I don't think that they're going to keep McGill up unless they keep him for a long man type situation. But he ended up going into the 6th inning against a really bad White Sox team. Rob, what'd you see from McGill? Anything different? Because for me personally, yeah, he only walked one batter, only gave up 5 hits. Some of them weren't necessarily hit hard, but at the same time, he still kind of labored through the at bats, threw a ton of pitches. Every count I felt like was 3-2. Is there anything different that you've seen? Because what they were saying in the minor leagues that he was doing, being very efficient with his pitches, I didn't necessarily see that translation when he got back up.
No, yeah, I mean, again, he had trouble locating his fastball, and that was the game plan going into the start for Tylor was to establish a fastball, use it, locate it, and he didn't really do a good job of that. But as the game went on, he got better. He's still missing that put away pitch, I feel like, and I think he used the cutter more, to when he fell behind the count, which was good to see. But I'm just glad he went 5 innings because the start of that first inning, it felt like maybe Mets would Mets, and he'd only go 4 or 3 innings, and then we'd have to burn the bullpen, but. He did his job. Quote unquote quality start. So I'll take it.
Yeah, agreed. He came in, couldn't really ask for anything more. Gave us the start that we needed, quality, like Rob said. And like I said, we couldn't ask for more. We got the dub, and he pitched pretty well.
Yeah, I think that again, in that moment when the Mets went behind to the White Sox and then the Mets ended up coming back and this, that, and the third, I was thinking to myself, wow, you can't have Tyler McGill pitch in these crucial games. And I'm still kind of feeling that way as they are slated to have him start against the Red Sox. But again, if he can do what he did, that would be great. The second game in Chicago, Jose Quintana made his return to the South Side, obviously former member of the White Sox and the Cubs. Quintana's bothering me again so much. And I know that he had a decent start in his previous outing where he went 6 innings, didn't strike out a batter, and limited the walks. This time around, 98 pitches over 5 innings in the Mets 5-3 victory. He only gave up 1 earned run, 2 runs total, walked 3, struck out 6. He just, without the command of the curveball, I feel like Jose Quintana is such a liability because everybody knows it's either a fastball or a changeup that's coming. And I'm having a hard time trusting Quintana despite only 1 earned run over his last 2 outings.
But when have we ever trusted Quintana?
I mean, during the heat of the summer when he was pitching his balls off,
Yeah.
now he's what, 145 innings deep, 140. Wow, it's right on the money. 145 and a third of an innings deep. You know what I mean? Like, I
Has he missed the start this year? No,
no,
right?
no.
All right.
I don't want to say what I'm about to say, but knock on wood, a lot of the pitchers have come up and they've pitched every 5 days. You know what I mean? And that's definitely a testament. It's definitely a testament, and it's good that by the looks of it, I don't think any of us in the early going. I think Quintana threw 26 pitches in the first inning or something along those lines. I did not see him getting through 5 innings, and somehow he did. So kudos there. Picked up his 99th career victory, but we're gonna need a little bit more from Hosey. As we don't go down
Yeah.
the stretch here.
Yeah, it's the walks for me. I mean, he gets the first 2 guys out, no problem, and then he works a count, walks them, and then again a base hit or another walk. He digs himself into holes. His WHIP the last 7 games is at a 1.45, so that's pretty high. So again, it's just the walks for me.
What do you think his FIP is? He's got an ERA of 4.27. What do you think his FIP is? 5.
I would say up in the 5s. Yeah.
Yeah, 5.
Yeah.
5. He's been worth 0.2 WAR this year.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
13 million for 0.2 WAR.
Yep. But thankfully speaking, and again, he's been a very nice Met to have. You can tell that he's good in the clubhouse. All the teammates love him, this, that, and the third. But again, I think we're all kind of pleased that there was not a third year attached to that deal, and he'll be a free agent after year's end.
I'd sign him to a vet minimum deal. I'm sure he'll get more than that, but
yeah, I definitely think he'll get more. I mean,
right,
listen,
Matt Wilpon, relax over there.
Yeah.
Or maybe he'd get like an Eric Fetty deal, like 2 years, 16 million.
Who else the Mets are paying around 13 million? I'd say like 14.
Sean Manaea.
Yeah, the man.
And he's gonna opt out. He's gonna opt out, and that
He's gonna opt out, and he's gonna get a bag.
Yeah, that transitions us, guys. I mean, listen, we go from the two liabilities in the rotation and which we feel like, and Tyler McGill and Jose Quintana to Sean Manaea put on another
Number one.
just bro, a brilliant outing. I don't care if it's against the fucking Yankees or the White Sox. Okay. Absolutely tremendous yesterday. Went 7 shutout innings, allowed 2 hits, walked 2, struck out 5. That's coming off the heels of an outing in Arizona. He allowed 3 runs, but it was in the 7th inning that he allowed it. Struck out 11, didn't walk a batter. Start before that against the Orioles, 7 innings, 3 earned runs, no walks, 9 Ks. The man looks like a different pitcher, and he led the way for us to sweep that series yesterday. 2.42 ERA in his last 7 starts.
Hell yeah, man. He's what's it called? I see what you're saying with the sweeper and the fastball combo. He loves to go up and in on the fastball, especially with 2 strikes, and then that sweeper, back foot sweeper against righties. And dude, he throws the sweeper when it's 3-0 against hitters or 2-1, like
Yeah,
when he's behind the count. He's just been honestly, he's been very, very, very surprising to me because this is a guy that we were like, oh, he's gonna be in the bullpen at the end of the year. Nah, hell no. He's our number one. He's the man, the myth, the legend. He took a page out of Chris Sale's book that the arm angle,
that's
he
exactly what it
changed
is.
he changed it a little bit and it's made a difference. So keep doing what you're doing, Sean Manaea. Hopefully the Mets make the playoffs and I'd give you the ball game 1.
As would I. So I see a lot of that arm angle. I don't know about you, but I see it when he throws that fastball because the fastball, he typically throws what, 90, 91, 92. But that
Yeah.
fastball
hmm
with a lower arm angle, it looks like it's coming in much faster.
hmm
And
Dude,
that's
it's like a
catching a lot of
riser.
left-hand hitters off guard,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And it's even catching right-handed hitters off guard because he's going up in the zone
hmm
and he's able to paint his corners, as you said before, getting ahead of batters with his sweeper. I mean, that's something that you don't necessarily see, and then the slider as well. I, and the craziest thing is like he's only throwing his fastball at a 13% clip, and he's predominantly relying on his slider and his sweeper. So that just kind of goes to show you how effective he's being because he's also twirling in that changeup, and everything is just working. And I think the greatest thing about it is that early on in the season, yeah, we were seeing good starts here and there from Sean, but nothing necessarily consistent. The biggest thing that I love about him right now is we are not, again, knock on wood, we are not seeing him walk batters. And I am
Yeah.
surprised because earlier on in the year, he was walking what, 3 to 5 batters a game?
hmm
Yeah. I mean, he's over exceeded his expectations, and like we said, he's gonna opt out. I mean, because he's definitely worth more than 14 million AAV after doing what he just did in a big market like New York, doing good with the media. I think he's a good fit for our market. Like, I think that he came here and he kind of embraced it, and maybe Heth like helped like tweaked a couple things. I'm not sure if he did that, but like he's great. His usage has looked good. His pitch combinations have looked solid. So he's going out there. He's giving a solid start after solid start. And I agree. I would give him the ball night game 1 of a wild card series, 100%.
Yeah, and let me just add too, like obviously he's doing well and he's going deep into games, and it's great to see on a personal note. But bro, the Mets are winning every time he's on the mound. The Mets win. Most of the time, the Mets are, like he's on the mound, the Mets win, and that's why you could say the same for Peterson and a guy like Severino, because bro, like it's not like the old days where a guy pitches his ass off. Jacob DeGrom throws 8 innings, the bullpen blows it, we lose 2-1 or we lose 1-0. Like no, this is a resilient bunch. It's a bunch that can make some noise if they squeak in that playoff. So again,
And,
I
and
just love what we're
you
seeing.
just said Dave Peterson has
Yeah.
fucking phenomenal. Like I tip the cap to him. He looks like a number 3 starter right now.
That's what I'm, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like all of a sudden, I don't know why I said that's what I'm saying. I didn't start saying anything, but that's the thing that when you think about it, it's like, yeah, sure, Severino probably has been our most consistent starter over the course of the season, right? But just look at how Sean Manaea and David Peterson have redefined themselves over the last 2 months. I mean, the Mets
Yeah.
would be obviously nowhere near where they are right now without the two. And again, the biggest thing for me is even a guy like Peterson, we're still seeing him walk 3, 4 batters a game at points, but they're limiting the contact.
Mhm.
They're limiting hard contact at least, and they're limiting the walks. And that's something that, yeah, we're still seeing 2-out walks galore that leads to a run here and there. Mostly that's from a Quintana or something along those lines, or a bullpen arm. But we're seeing these guys pitch efficiently. And for the first time all season, now we're getting guys going into the 6th, 7th, 8th inning, which is
Yeah.
preserving the bullpen. And hopefully that helps out the bullpen as we continue on in the season.
Yeah, I mean, we can hope 100%. We can hope.
And now the thing is, though, now my question to you guys is, obviously we'll talk more about the off season probably in our season wrap up whenever the season concludes, right? But if you're looking at the free agent market going into next year, I think that the Mets, me personally, and I think I mentioned this last week or the 2 weeks before, I'm somebody that I'm going to prioritize putting my money towards the bats, whether it's Juan Soto, whether it's someone else. I just think that long-term bats are a safer option than obviously giving long-term contracts to pitchers. With that
Mhm.
said, what type of contract extension would you give Sean Manaea? But then you also have a guy like Luis Severino. Yeah, we've seen Sebi not be as dominant as he was earlier on and not as dominant as Manaea, but a guy like Severino also is a free agent. So my question to you guys is, going into 2025, knowing that the Mets have Kodai Senga, David Peterson, I mean, yeah, Paul Blackburn's under contract.
Blackburn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Blackburn, right?
You
Which
got to
of the
throw McGill in
which,
there.
yeah, Miguel, yeah, in terms of depth. But who would you go after in terms of, because I feel like both are going to get multi-year contracts. They're both, I mean, Severino's 30 years old. Sean Manaea is 32.
32. Yeah.
Okay. So which one would you really hone in on if you were David Stearns and say, yeah, I want to keep this piece as a 2 or 3 in my rotation? Which one would you go after right now?
I think for me, it would probably have to be Manaea. I think he's just looked better. His stuff has looked better, and he's looked more like patient. But I would probably give Manaea 3 years, 60 million with another opt out after that first year. So he gets a $6 million raise, bumps him up to 20 million AAV for our 2025 season.
So
Say he goes and breaks out again.
So Chris Bassett contract.
Pretty much, yeah. But I also think that there's a possibility that they say, you know what? Okay, he had a good year. Maybe he doesn't replicate this at an age 33 season. Do they go and spend more money for a Max Fried or a Corbin Burns? It's
Yeah. So I was gonna say I think the Mets do get Corbin Burns. So that would influence my decision in giving Manaea a contract.
I per,
I
I
out of those two though, to answer your question, I would sign Manaea as well. But if the Mets get a guy like Corbin Burns, then I think that changes a lot of things. You know.
right. I think that
Also,
what Sean
yeah.
Manaea is doing right now, and the way that he's not only is this a good run, but as you said, Rob, he's made instrumental changes to his delivery, right?
Yeah.
And with the arm action, and his pitches are bringing results to the table that he's never even seen before, right? So if he has found the key to the chess that he's been looking for, that will allow him to continue the consistency on the mound, I think that brings Manaea into a completely different territory, monetarily speaking, than a Luis Severino. I think Sebi, he got $13 million this year. I think next year he's probably going to get $15-16 million over the course of a 3-4 year deal. I think Manaea is definitely in that $17 to $20 million category now. And I think that teams are going to look at him and they're going to say, he's not somebody that's going out there and throwing 99 miles per hour every day. So we don't have to worry about him blowing his arm out, right? I think that Manaea would be a safer bet. And then, yeah, you would go after another starter on the open market. I'm not necessarily saying that I would put all the entire bag towards a Corbin Burns or a Max Fried, only because, again, I'm hesitant with pitchers. But again, I think extending one of the two, most notably Sean Manaea, is the best route for the Mets to go in 2025. And I love how he's embraced New York. He comes across as somebody that loves being a Met and somebody who wants to be here for the long term. And I think that the Mets they're going to be turning, even more of a corner than they have this year. So, and I think that he would be a great addition moving forward. So I definitely think Sean Manaea should
also
be.
take into account of possible youth movement next year, like Sproat, Tidwell, Hamill, Vasile. If one of them isn't in the rotation, there's a massive pitching problem in the
abs-
organization.
Absolutely, right? And I think that that is where, you look at it and you go, let's say the Mets do re-sign Sean Manaea, okay? You have Manaea, Senga, Blackburn as three pitchers and Peterson, four pitchers that should be in the rotation, right? Paul Blackburn maybe as a fringe, I don't know, but there's four, right? Then you would add one more. But again, my money is going towards the bats at the end of the day. As far as, switching gears from the pitching to the offense, I don't know who said it before, but the MVP man and Mr. Francisco Lindor, he is leading the way. I think that he definitely is somebody that should, I don't know. I'll open the floor up to you guys. Robbie, is Lindor your
Yo,
MVP right now?
you know where I stand on MVP as a whole. MVP is someone who makes your team better and valuable. You just like more. You're honestly just like that big of an impact for your team that if I were to take you away, like your team wouldn't be where you are without you. You know what I mean? And that's what I view as an MVP. So I look at a guy like Lindor. Obviously, if he wasn't on the Mets wouldn't be where they are today. But just the impact he's made, not only on the team, like not only on the offense, but the whole team in general. That's Francisco Lindor right there. He's playing defense. He's playing every day. He's hitting home runs. He's hitting for RBIs. Yo, y'all were bitching and complaining that he was hitting 220, 230, 3 years ago. Now he's hitting 270. I don't hear you guys talking. Average is overrated in my opinion. The best National League average right now is like 309.
Right.
Okay. Back in the 10 years ago, it would have been 349 or like a Jeff McNeil-esque year, or like a Bobby Witt who's hitting 340. But Francisco Lindor is doing it all on both ends of the baseball field. All right. And he's potentially going to lead the Mets to a wild card berth. So that's my definition of an MVP. And he steals bases. So don't give me that shit that he ain't worth anything or that he shouldn't even be in the conversation because last time I checked, his WAR was at 6. So we're all about wins above replacement. He's up there, and I think he's number one
Yeah,
in the National League. So
he is number one.
yeah,
6.8 WAR for Francisco Lindor. Second in the
yeah,
National League is Shohei Ohtani at 6.5. Behind him is Ellie De La Cruz at 5.9. So
Mhm.
again, how much stock the writers put into WAR remains to be seen. But listen, I asked you guys, I wanted to open it up, and Matt, I'll get your take. But to me, he is that MVP. Point blank, what you just said, Rob, the Mets would be nowhere close to where they are right now. I mean, they would be 15, 20 games below 500 without Francisco Lindor. Point, point,
yeah.
point blank, right? He's incredible in the field and at the dish. He's probably going to win the Gold Glove in the National League. He's going to win the Silver Slugger. Okay. Should have been an all-star. That's beside the point. But now you're seeing him raise that. And even though, again, batting average overrated, right? But now you're also seeing his contact rate fly. He's not striking
Yeah.
out as much, right? He's nearly hitting 270, which is what he did in Cleveland. 134 weighted runs created plus. Yeah, that's not 168 weighted runs created plus like Shohei Ohtani. But again, that's all Ohtani is focusing on. And yeah, Ohtani is stealing bags left and right. But it's because he has the endurance. You put him back on the mound, he's not going to be stealing bags like that every day. So
Mhm.
that's just kind of where I go to is that, yeah, if the Mets do end up getting to the playoffs, and obviously the writers vote on that beforehand, but if the Mets are getting into that playoff berth and writers see that, I hope they take this into account, man, because what Lindor is doing right now, he's putting together his best offensive season of his career.
Yeah, it's very impressive. It is. And I mean, you guys pretty much hit everything on that I was gonna say, especially Rob. But if you take Lindor off the Mets, I think we're a 50 win team.
Whoa, 50 wins.
At least that we're not historically bad,
What are we, the White
Yeah.
Sox?
All right, maybe not 50, but we're nowhere near the team that we are without him. And we're not even close to sniffing a wild card playoff berth. So he's been as advertised. I'm happy that Francisco Lindor's a Met, and I think he should win the MVP.
But it's like, and like that's the thing too. Like you look at the Mets, right? And growing up, all of us, like we valued David Wright a lot. Obviously, Ian's favorite player was Carlos Beltran. Maddie loved Jose Reyes. I was a David Wright guy. He eventually was named captain, right? But that's the big impact he had on the organization, the team itself. You know what I mean? The fan base. Like when I was growing up, you looked at David Wright. He was all over the place. Like that's Francisco Lindor, you know? And that's why I think he should have a C on his chest because the influence he's had on Mark Vientos, Francisco Alvarez, the pitching staff, the way he talks to all his teammates, everybody looks up to him. He's like he's like a Jalen Brunson. You add another player to that mix, then again, like Lindor is going to be even better. But just moving him to that leadoff spot really did wonders. Mendoza looks like a genius doing that, and it's really upped Lindor's game a lot.
Yeah. Now, actually, I'm glad you said that because this is something that I was thinking about the other day, and it's funny that you brought that up. When you look at let's say the 2006 was different, okay? 2006 was different, but if you look at the 2015 Mets, we know that there was a lot of camaraderie. You saw it. You saw how much they loved each other, right? But I felt like it got brought to a new level in 2022. Like 22, that was a group that not only did you have multiple leaders, but they were just having so much fun. And I feel like every team that Lindor is on is kind of like that in a capacity. And I think it's his energy that he brings, even this team right now. You have a band of misfits in the rotation, okay? You have guys that are underperforming in the lineup, and the Mets are exceeding expectations. Lindor's exceeding expectations, and the camaraderie is crazy. And I just feel like Lindor is the linchpin to the entire thing. And I agree. He is as captain-esque as they come. He brings a completely different vibe to a team. He really is a joy to watch on a day in and day out basis. And I hope the Mets take that into account and name him captain going into next year because I don't think there's a better player to represent the franchise than
Yeah, and
Francisco.
again, like you want to talk about a player who just like I said with David Wright, right? You look up to a player like that. You look up to players that look up to the player that you're looking up to. You feel me? Like again, like just he just has that vibe. Like even like the new guys, like Winker comes in, boom, ball of energy. Jose Iglesias, ball of energy. Like you mix good clubhouse guys with a guy like Lindor, and he's just leading the way. And again, obviously it helps having like a semi-homegrown team like Alonso, McNeil, Nimmo. All those guys have been playing minor league ball for years now. So obviously them making the big league team is you got to put into consideration as well. But you said it best, man. Just a band of goons on that rotation. Lindor brings them in, brings in the young guys and Alvarez and Vientos. When Brazenbaum was having a fucking fit when we're up 8-1 in San Diego, not throwing strikes, Lindor is the first guy to go out there, mound visit. That's the type of leader that you want. That's, again, Jalen Brunson-esque, that's Derek Jeter-esque, that's David Wright-esque, and the Mets haven't had that in quite some time. So again, you got to appreciate players like him and you got to reward players like him because again, he's under contract for a long time, obviously, but that'll drag more guys in to want to play with a guy like Lindor.
And how about those MVP chants
Yeah.
raining in Chicago yesterday? That'd
be
great.
something too. Just to have like a Mets player win MVP, that would mean a lot to a franchise. I know we want to win a World Series, but at the end of the day, when was the last time we had an NL MVP?
Never.
I don't even remember. Yeah,
Never.
exactly. So again, like yeah, it's nice to win batting titles and Silver Sluggers, Gold Gloves, but an MVP in a World Series is up there for me. We need players like that. We need players like that in this city.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. And Rob, you know what? Fuck it. We're talking about the offense now. You said Jesse Winker. What an addition Jesse Winker has been. Okay.
Yeah.
You
right.
spoke about the theatrics of his walk-off. But even the other night when Jose Iglesias had that game-winning RBI single up the middle and he was getting hyped, Winker was on the top step of the dugout just going crazy. The guy I personally think has been top 5, maybe top 3 most impactful bats that have been acquired at the trade deadline. The guy's hitting 333, 354 on base percentage, 480 slugging, which accumulates to an 834 OPS since joining the Mets. 2 home runs, 9 RBIs. And I like that we're starting to see a little bit more of that extra base hit type performance from Jesse Winker because we were seeing a lot of, Winker singles, right? And now we're seeing him go the other way. We're seeing him pull the ball to right field like he did in Chicago yesterday. And that is something that Winker just brings another dynamic to this offense and to the team. And something that they were mentioning on the broadcast yesterday, it's really crazy that the Mets have 5 outfielders, one who's starting every day, and the other four, and Tyrone Taylor and Harrison Bader and Starling Marte and Jesse Winker, all guys who have played every day before, they've all bought into a rotation. And
Yeah.
that is giving Mendoza so many different options and so many, like, being able to mix and match. I, I think that it's just such a recipe for success, and Winker has just been phenomenal. I can't say enough.
Yeah, I agree. I just I think that I would be more than fine having him finish his career as a Met. He brings that energy. It seems like he loves the
Okay.
atmosphere and he loves being a Met. So
Nice. No, I
Listen,
love that, Matt. Yeah,
I'd bring him back for next year, without a
definitely.
doubt, without a doubt. The way, even like, here's my rule of thumb. Okay, in order to come onto my team, granted, I'm a nobody. I make no decisions, but in
Yeah,
order,
yeah, but the team you root for.
yeah, in order for me to justify it, I need to see you get on base, right? And Winker has always, he's got a 369 career on base percentage. So even when he had those really bad years, like last year when he hit 199, and in 2022 when he hit 219, he still put up 344 and 320 on base percentages, right? So now that it looks like he's refound some more of his contact, he, and he's putting up better ABs. And if the guy's getting on base at that type of clip anyway, there's no reason not to bring him back, you know?
I agree.
Yeah, I just wanna give a shout out to Mets Twitter, who posted a picture of Tyler Naquin and put Jesse Winker on top
Yeah.
of it, because you couldn't be more wrong. Jesse Winker is a gamer. He's not no Tyler Naquin. Yeah, I know you guys want to see some power numbers, but at the end of the day, this guy's a hitter and he works the count. You know, when he goes down 0-2, I get nervous, but again, like at the end of the day, he'll run it down to 2-2, 3-2. Maybe, and like you said, on base percentage, it's been consistent throughout all his career. And I like that statement in you saying that he's been probably the top three acquisitions of this trade deadline. I think he's number two or three, if that. So Jesse Winker's been a big bat for the Mets and a big get. So, I love how Matt wants him to finish his career as a Met. I think that'd be like work out for both parties.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And throughout this road trip, we definitely also saw, some players perform better, right? Like an Alonso, like a JD Martinez. They had some clutch
Oh
hits,
yeah,
hits them
Petey
over the
baby,
yeah, hits them over the wall, right? Pete Alonso surpassed
Pete
Mike Piazza.
Alonso
He's now,
shots right there.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's now third all time in Mets franchise history for home runs. Somebody that's really just struggling mightily, though, that I want to talk about briefly, Francisco Alvarez. He's still calling great games behind the dish. With that said, I don't know if you're starting to see it, but I feel like it might be carrying over. He's made a couple blunders in the field recently, trying to backhand a ton of balls. He's hitting 103 over his last 15 games, 188 over his last 7 games. He's struck out 15 times and 39 at bats over his last 15 games. It just seems like if there's a fastball up in the zone, he's going to swing. And if it's not actually in the zone, he's going to miss. He can't lay off any sliders that are away, even ones that are in the strike zone. It looks like he's got a hole in his bat. Uh, um, what,
He might still be hurt.
yeah,
what,
He might still be hurt.
yep.
he might still be hurt. Would you guys, this is crazy to say.
I'd phantom
No,
IL.
I wouldn't send him down. No, I wouldn't.
No. I wouldn't. Did you think that that's what I was going to say?
Yeah,
No, I'm not saying that. Fuck
you're just
that.
shitting on him the whole time.
Who the hell are we calling up at this point? Fucking no. Kevin Parada? No. Listen, I what what I think, well, the question that I wanted to ask you guys is like, if there's a situation where there's bases loaded, one out, and you need a run, would you rather Luis Torrens up or Francisco Alvarez up right now?
Turns.
No, no, you're wrong. Both of you are wrong.
Right, but what
Francisco
is
Alvarez has been more clutch than Luis Torrens. What are you talking
He
about?
has, dude, Alvarez has looked so
yeah,
bad. Like, I
bro,
don't know if I would
yeah,
trust him in that spot.
Rob, I understand what you're saying in terms of being clutch. but it's not every day that you're
Yeah.
but it's not every day that you're
Just
gonna get
named
a
a clutch situation. So
but no, but the thing is, it's not every day that you're gonna get a 3-0 hit sign fastball right down the cock, and you're gonna
that's not
drive
what
it over.
that's not
And
the clutch RBI I'm talking about though.
no, no,
That's
no,
one.
but
That's one RBI. But
he has not done dick
so what
since
is name a Luis Torrens clutch hit?
he had that 2 home run game.
That was clutch though. That was bases loaded, one out. With we're down 1 run, or we're
He's had
tied.
some clutch hits. I don't know them off the top of my head, but
Yeah, yeah.
Fam,
I'm not.
he's
Yeah,
hitting
I don't have a
250.
binder
He's
full
hitting
of Luis
250.
Torrens
It's the same
stats here.
thing. What is
No,
Alvarez hitting?
Alvarez is hitting
we
shit.
also we also we also
Not in the
bought
last 7
Eddie
games.
for
I'm saying in the season, during the season.
239,
And what's Torrens hitting?
253,
240, 250?
253.
Okay. I love Luis
Okay.
Torrens. Don't get me wrong. He's better than Tomas Nido, but Alvarez is your guy.
better
That's
than
your guy,
I
man.
Nito.
I
Literally,
agree.
fucking, I'm better than Nito.
What'd you say?
That was our last backup catcher. I'm just saying.
I said, I'm better than Thomas Nito. Get
No,
out
stop it.
of
Dude,
here.
dude, like listen, Francisco is
Okay.
the future
Time
of
out.
this Mets
Coach.
organization.
Coach. Can I say
But,
something?
but bro,
If
89 weighted runs
if
created
Francisco
plus. What
Alvarez
the
is
fuck are
okay,
you
if it's
doing at
bases
the
loaded, what
dish?
inning is it? What inning is it? Last inning? Ninth inning?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have anyone else on the bench? Because I'd probably pinch hit someone else than Luis Torrens. Do we have Winker on the bench? Do we have Marte? Do we have Tyron Taylor?
Obviously, in
Like,
that
'cause I'd rather do
situation,
that.
well, no, no, no. But obviously, in that situation, you're going to go to a pinch hitter and then put
Yeah.
Torrens in defensively the
Yes,
next inning.
exactly. So
What I'm trying to say though is that if you have this situation where your bench is emptied, let's say, and your catcher is the one up,
okay.
would you rather it be Torrens or would you rather it be to Alvarez? Even if it's one run, who do you trust more to make contact, to put the ball in the air, to get it to the outfielder, to get a sac fly? To me, that's Torrens. Alvarez looks like he has a fucking hole in his bat.
What if Torrens grounds that into a double play and then gets hurt running down to first? Now we have no catcher.
Yeah, I'll be pretty pissed. I'll be pretty pissed. There's a dog just in the middle of the road. Should I do something?
Nah, it's walking.
Nah,
He's
dude,
probably
just-
on a walk. No,
No,
but
no,
I don't know. I'm sorry. I just don't agree with that. Like, Torrens isn't that he's good. Don't get me wrong. He's a good backup catcher. That's not what I'm saying. He's not bad at all. What if Mendoza did it and it worked out, so be it. But bro, like, you want to talk? I don't know. Alvarez is his bigger threat, in my opinion. He's just a bigger threat.
he is.
I don't know.
No,
And I feel like if you asked a kid who we've seen what he could do last year, he hit 20-something plus home runs. Like, he is a hitter. We saw in the beginning of the year what he was capable of doing. Why take away that opportunity for that kid? He's 20-something years old.
I
he's
agree.
only gonna get better.
I agree. I think
I agree with Maddie though that I do still think he's hurt. Yeah, and with the pass balls and all that, I think it's just around baseball because of the way the catchers are taught how to set up. Like, it's hard to block when you're on one knee. But nah, I think he's still hurt. Yeah, I agree with Matt. What Matt said.
and if you're still hurt, then why are you playing?
Because I don't know, maybe he's good enough to. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's scared to say something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if Pablo Reyes can catch. Speaking of Pablo Reyes, it's obviously September.
Oh, gosh.
Rosters expanded to 28 rather than 26. The Mets called up Alex Young, the left-hander, much needed. He was great when he was here. So happy to have him back. In addition to this, they brought up utility man Pablo Reyes, who last played in the major leagues for outside of the Mets, the Red Sox. He played in 21 games for them this year. Matt, I want to ask you your thoughts, because the big question on social media has been, why did the Mets opt to go to Pablo Reyes opposed to Luis Angel Acuna, who has been raking and leads his league in hits, or a Luke Ritter, right?
Yeah.
Pablo Reyes wasn't on the 40-man. What's your take? And neither was Ritter. Acuna is, though. What is your take on the Mets calling upon Pablo Reyes opposed to one of the other two I mentioned? You being the prospect guru.
So I probably would have called up Pablo Reyes over Acuna. I get that. I do not understand it over Ritter. Ritter, we've been banging the drum for Ritter for fucking 3 months. It seems like if they're not going to call him up, they should have just traded him at the deadline. I really don't get it. He has like 26 home runs. I think he leads the Mets minors in home runs and a whole bunch of offensive statistic categories. So I would have had him up because I think he's 27 if I'm not mistaken, and it's like
27.
you got to see what you got in this kid. Like I would have liked to see what you had in him before the 2025 season, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. And I think he's already over 80 RBIs too. It's like it's silly.
84 RBIs, 25 home runs, 869 OPS.
He should be in the bigs.
I have a
Rob.
question.
Yes, Rob.
I have a question.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So I hear where you're coming from with Luke Ritter, right? But normally September call-ups are what? Besides not, I'm talking offensively aside. What like a Pablo Reyes, you think he's gonna play?
Pinch run.
Just be a
Okay.
bat.
Okay. So is Luke Ritter fast? Yes or no? Do we know that? Does he steal bags?
I think he
He
does.
he stole
Okay.
he
Fair.
stole a solid 3 bases this year.
Oh,
Fair.
okay. So he's not a big stealer, probably.
Okay, all right. So my I don't it's not even a question, it's just my point of like again, if Luke Ritter was gonna play, then yeah, call him up. But if we just need a pinch runner, then Pablo Reyes or Acuna is obviously the clear cut favorite, just because like those are the guys you need for base running. You've seen it yesterday. Marte hits a 2-out shot to the wall. Pablo Reyes scores. I don't whoever he pinch ran for, I don't think he would have scored on that. But again, like if Luke Ritter's gonna get consistent at bats, if Acuna or like a Drew Gilbert staying healthy, whatever, they would have got consistent at bats, then yeah, you call him up. But if you just need a pinch runner, then Pablo
Right.
Reyes has big league experience. Played with
Right.
the Sox last year. You said that, yeah, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I do feel for Luke Ritter though. He's had a year. He's got 30 home runs basically. So
Yeah.
you know.
When I look at the situation, Rob, I completely agree with what you said. Um, Obviously, Acuna would also make sense for like being a pinch runner, but at the end of the day, there's still X amount of games in the minor leagues, and Acuna's an everyday player, right?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
you want him to continue his development,
Yeah.
considering he's really kicked it into gear over the last few months. I think it comes back to the point that Matt made. I don't understand why Luke Ritter wasn't called upon. And yes, Pablo Reyes is more dynamic in terms of that he can go on the base paths and, steal a couple bases or be a better, runner. But I don't know. It's not like Reyes has gone about. I mean, it's not like he's had extensive MLB experience, but the most bags he's stolen in a season was 7. Ritter, the most he's stolen in the minors is 5, and Ritter gives you a much better bat at the dish. Now, does he get those at bats if he comes up? I think is the question that you were referring to, Rob, and I guess that's why Ritter wasn't called upon. I just and I guess the other thing with Pablo Reyes is Pablo Reyes allows for Carlos Mendoza not to absolutely empty his bench
Mhm.
and enables him to, instead of putting Tyrone Taylor in to pinch run for somebody, it allows them to put Pablo Reyes into that situation and maybe hold a Tyrone Taylor or somebody else for later on in the game. So I understand that. Just to me, I would have really liked to see Luke Ritter, as you said, Matt. I agree with you. I would have loved to see him before 2025, but it's not looking like it.
Yeah, no. And it would have been nice to see like if you know have some answers. Is he a possible bench piece? Stuff like that.
No, yeah.
I
I
don't
think
know.
he'll get a shot though next year in spring training.
I agree.
Hopefully.
I agree. And I think that the biggest thing when it comes down to it is that they said that they called Pablo Reyes up because he's a utility man. He can play a bunch of different positions and he can
Yeah.
also,
Play some defense.
perform
Yeah.
on the base paths. Luke Ritter
Yeah.
also
No.
can play multiple positions. And,
Yeah, I know.
so
Pretty sure he plays first, second, third, outfield,
yeah,
Yeah.
DH.
yeah. And it's not like, I saw someone make an argument on X, which we've had a lot of arguments on X recently, but,
Oh, fucker.
but, there was an argument that was like, that the Mets were not going to call Ritter up because they wanted to preserve his service time. And it's like, bro, he's fucking 27 years old. You're not preserving it. You're not preserving any service time. It's not conceivable. But yeah, no, Twitter's been a minefield recently. It sucks. All right, boys. So just a quick peek at the standings and just looking ahead to what is gonna be, and again, we say this every fucking episode now, okay?
We gotta go. We gotta go day
The
by
next
day, week by
series
week.
is the most
Yeah.
crucial of them all, right? It's
Yeah.
every week.
Every series is crucial.
Yeah, every series is crucial. Every game is crucial. But again, as it stands right now, the Diamondbacks and the Padres are tied atop the National League wild card standings. Diamondbacks are 77 and 60. Padres are 78 and 61. The Braves are one game up on the Mets. They hold the third wild card spot. They are 74 and 63. But as Rob mentioned earlier, could go to a half game tonight. Knock on wood. We're not sure because the Braves are off. But right in back of the Mets, just 2 games, are the Chicago Cubs, who are 9-1 over their last 10 and have won 6 consecutive games. They are 71 and 66. So Craig Counsell finally got that team moving in the right direction. And hopefully the Mets can fend them off, and hopefully the Mets can, leap the Atlanta Braves. The next 3 for the New York Mets, it'll be Luis Severino tonight, facing off against Brian Bello, who had a tremendous season last year, has struggled this year quite a bit. David Peterson will get the ball tomorrow. He'll be opposed by Cutter Crawford. And then in the series finale, unless Paul Blackburn's activated from the IL beforehand, I don't think that'll happen because he made a rehab start the other day. It'll be Tyler McGill facing off against Tanner Hawk-Tui. And then
Excuse me.
no, Hawk.
What'd you say? Oh, you motherfucker. Yeah.
I know you guys were both sleeping there. You didn't hear shit.
Yeah.
You had to wait a solid couple minutes to call me out on that one.
I heard Hawk-Tui.
And then they have an off.
Ahead.
Then they have an off day Thursday, and then they welcome in the Cincinnati Reds, who are reeling for 3. Boys, where is our confidence level here on September 2nd? Matt, I'll start with you.
I mean, I'm pretty confident. I think these next 6, you can make a strong argument that if the Mets play how they've been playing against the Padres, the Diamondbacks, they could take 5 out of 6, hopefully 6 out of 6. But the Boston Red Sox, that's not a team to just shrug off. They have some good players, and they have some good hitters. So we gotta keep the course. We gotta stay on the course, and we gotta just keep playing the same baseball that we've been playing.
Love it.
All right, you didn't give me a number though. Give me 1 through 10. The confidence level.
8.
Oh,
Highest I've been on.
Nice.
Yeah,
go.
Maddie's
See my
confident.
influence? It's the influence, baby. Positive Robbie.
Confident Maddie. Look at this. We got positive Robbie and confident Maddie.
Thumbs up.
Right.
Yeah.
No. Listen, Matt hit it on the head, and again, I couldn't have said it better myself. But again, the Mets were playing meaningful baseball here in September. That's all we could ask for. My confidence level is also on an 8. I think the Mets go away with a 4-2 this week. 4-2. They take 2 out of 3 from the Red Sox, and then they take. Oh no, never mind. Excuse me. I'll say 4-2. Yeah, but we're not going to get into what I think is going to happen. But listen, we're playing good baseball. We're a game back. Keep pitching, keep hitting. This lineup can hang with the best of them, and as long as this rotation keeps doing what they're doing, we're going to be in a good spot come late September. So LFGM.
LFGM indeed. Yeah, my confidence level, I'm right there with you. I'm at an 8 or 9 even. It's honestly gotten to that point, and I think it's because when you look at the Mets schedule, yeah, Matt, you said it. We're not going to shrug off the Red Sox. The Reds also have some dynamic pieces. So do the Blue Jays, who the Mets face next week. But at the end of the day, the Mets, if they continue to perform like they did against 2 of the top teams in baseball, in the Diamondbacks and the Padres, then they should stay the course, and they should be able to continue playing like this as we move towards the end of September. It's really wild that we only have 20-something games left. And that's all she wrote here in 2024. And hopefully we'll be recording in October. Again, before we hop off, just a reminder, please follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and X. We are at Cup of Mets. Subscribe to the podcast, whether it be on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Visit cupofmets.com for all the latest merch. And last but not least, download that SeatGeek app, punch and code Cup of Mets at first purchase to get $20 off. And I know that the baseball season's winding down, but you could use that shit for Knicks, Nets, Islanders. Actually, I'm not allowed to say teams, so I'll stop there. For Matt DeSantis and Robert Venegas, I'm Ian Bosniak. Episode 24 in the books. Let's go, Mets. Continue the course. Everybody stay positive. And that's all she wrote. We'll see you next week, guys.